Hi everyone, I am Madison Mylan or Madison Allison as you will see me on our page. I live in Helen, Pennsylvania with my husband Brad. I was just recently married in November. I'm a fur mom to a chocolate lab named Bear. I love the Philadelphia Eagles. I love to hike and be outdoors when it's warm enough. I love to bake and I love to relax at the beach. My professional life, I am a second grade teacher at Friendship Elementary School. I work in the Southern York County School District and I am in my third year of teaching. I am a graduate from Millersville back in 2016, and I graduated with my early childhood education and my special education degree. So I am certified to teach both. When choosing my graduate study, I chose STEM because, number one, my students have such a high interest in it. They are always coming to school wanting to engage in STEM lessons and STEM activities. 21st century learning skills are really important today and for my students' life after school. So it's important to hit those skills through STEM. It was a very hot topic when I was choosing my graduate program. And I love when my students are able to be creative and also then tie that into a real world application. So I think that STEM hits all of those points. And so I wanted to learn more about STEM. That way I could use it better in my own classroom with my students. So how do students learn science? So based off of chapter 9, the biggest thing, basically from all our readings, was inquiry. That students really need to learn through experiences and being actively engaged in their learning. That they're not just being told what the fact is, but that they are experiencing, they're observing, they're imagining, and they're actually experiencing the process for themselves to learn that actual fact. It's important that our science time is not just being set aside for students to just have inquiry just because it's something fun to do, but we're actually using inquiry to teach the actual science standards. And lastly, students are learning science through metacognition. So they really need to be thinking while they are learning and having those reflective assessments and thinking, what am I doing? Why am I doing this? And what can I take from what the lesson is today? So some barriers to science learning. I pulled these from pretty much all the chapters that we were learning this week and reading about. And the first one I got was misconceptions. So that was big in, the very first chapter about how students are learning and what they're coming to school with. So everyone's coming with this background information. And in order to learn new information, we have to kind of break those misconceptions for them to be able to learn new information. Otherwise, they're just going to combine those facts together and create something totally different. So misconceptions is a huge barrier to learning science. Also, right or wrong answers, they expect them. So once it's kind of an open-ended discussion, it becomes difficult. And also the old habits of the scientific process. We're so used to going through and taking our students step by step that it becomes more difficult. In my classroom, I think that thinking about all the principles, really in chapter 1, maybe very reflective and that I do have some room for growth. But I like to think that I use pre-assessments a lot in my classroom to learn about their prior knowledge and misconceptions. I have a lot of ESL students, so they are coming with a whole different wide vast of prior knowledge and misconceptions versus from what other students are coming from. And also, I like to think that I use inquiry, but I think I use it maybe a little bit more organized and more structured than I should. And I need to get my students more time of, creating those actual experiments on their own rather than me giving to them and saying, okay, use these tools and figure it out. So that's something that I need to grow in. Lastly, the My STEM perspective is from chapter 8 is combining 2 to 4 disciplines. So thinking of an activity or a lesson where we can incorporate science, science, technology, engineering, and mathematics the best that we can. I said a perfect lesson would incorporate all 4 of them equally, but if we could include just 3, then I still consider it to be a STEM lesson. So if you have a mathematics lesson where you are using technology and you're using engineering, but we're not using science, I'm still going to consider it a STEM lesson. But if you have, a science lesson where you're using mathematics and you're using technology, but we're not really engineering anything, it's still going to be considered STEM to me. Thank you.